Yeah, when I grow up, you know what I want to be? Take a seat, let me tell you my ridiculous dreams. I want to rap, yeah, I know it's hard to believe. And I can tell you're already thinking I will never succeed, but I'm okay with it, I admit the lyrics are weak. I've been working on them, I'll be good eventually. I understand you gotta crawl before you get to your feet, but I've been running for a while, they ain't ready for me. I know this probably isn't really realistic, and honestly I might not ever make a difference, but that don't make a difference, I'ma have to risk it. I've been crunching numbers, you ain't gotta be a mathematician, and see the odds ain't rooting for me. I can't lie though, it's kinda how I like it to be, the underdog. Yeah, you probably think you know what I mean, but what I'm saying is they ever push me, I'm gonna swing. Yeah, I could go to college getting down like everybody else, graduating, probably get a job that doesn't pay the bills. That don't make a lot of sense to me, forget the happy meals. I don't like the dollar menu, I would rather make a meal. Huh? Make a meal? No, I said make a meal. Home cooking, get the grill. How you want it? Pretty well. Everything I see is overdone to me, I'm not a dad, but I'ma get a record deal and say hello to Master Grow up, I just wanna pay my bills, rapping about the way I feel. Oh yeah, I just wanna make a couple mil, leave it to the fam in the will. Oh yeah, I just wanna sign a record deal, maybe buy a house up in the hills. Oh yeah, might not be the best in my field, but I guarantee that I'ma die real when I grow up. Yeah, hey, when I grow up. Yeah, hey, I'ma make them notice me, rhyming like it's poetry. Everything I oversee, I just like to overthink. Mocking me, you pay the fee, no returning, no receipts. Those of you that don't believe, quiet, you don't know a thing. Quiet when I'm trying to sing, quiet when I'm making beats, quiet when I'm trying to think. Sorry, I don't mean to scream, I just feel like no one really gets me, and it's sad to see, cause someday I'ma grow up and show all of you it's meant to be. Yeah, anybody wanna hear me rap? No. Come on, let me play a couple tracks. No. Come on, I can spit it really fast. No. You think I should throw this in the trash? No. Tricked ya, haters go away before I hit ya. I am not a beggar or a kiss up. You don't understand, well I forgive ya. I am not a quitter, you didn't really think that, did ya? Maybe someday I could even be up on the radio, have a tour bus and maybe even play a couple shows. Everybody in the crowd singing every word I wrote, telling me that I am not the only one that feels alone. Huh? You feel alone? Yeah, I kinda feel alone. Wonder if the feeling ever goes away when you get old. Will I ever make it as an artist? I don't really know. Might not make a lot of dough, I'ma have to try it though. I just wanna pay my bills.
All right, hello guys. So, I was originally planning on doing this stream Monday, if you guys did not know. And might have did a little bit of a goof. I was setting up the stream camera, you know, I thought it was in place, you know. Well, it's not as now it's actually mounted to my monitor. It wasn't before. I was doing something because I hadn't bought the mount yet. And the lens may or may not have. Here, you know what? I might be able to get it for you guys. Hold on. So, the lens, you know, is, I might not be able to see it great, but it's, like, messed up. It's not equal, so the lens kind of broke. So, that, you know, that more or less made it to where I could not record early. I could not stream. And so, yeah, now we're here. So, yeah, but also to answer Matt's question, we will be doing, hopefully, one season per stream. That is the goal. There's no way in hell we're going to do, what, 10 seasons worth of television in one stream? It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah. Also, yes, a little bit different of an angle just because the mount I have, it's a little higher than my monitor, so I couldn't do it how I was before, where I had it basically, the camera was right behind the monitor, so it was like a straight on type thing. It's good enough. Also, you guys will be seeing, oh, hold on. It's Mr. Stormtrooper in the background. You know, it doesn't look great right now because it's on, you know, like a little coffee tray thing. But in the videos, you hopefully can't see that. I don't know yet. I didn't actually test that before recording the reread today, so we'll see how it looks. Also, hi, JC. How are you? Best episode, Baylor. Second best, The Reigns of Castamere. It's a good one. We will be ranking Baylor at some point. Well, probably at the very end of the stream. And, yeah, Watchers on the Wall is my favorite just by its execution. It definitely is a good one. So, the way we'll do this, I will more or less kind of describe the episode to you guys. You guys can vote on it. You can put it wherever you want to go. I'm assuming for the first 4 seasons, there's not going to be a single episode even below B tier. So, I'll probably just give you guys, like, S to B every single time until we get to, like, probably season 5. But yeah, the objective of this is by the end of it, we'll have every episode ranked. This is probably going to take a long time. And yeah, let's just go through it. So season 1, I'm probably the most familiar with, as I've watched it the most. Game of Thrones is the book I've read the most. It makes sense. It's the starting season and or book. So yeah, let's get into it. So episode 1 of season 1. Great introduction to the story. You start with the cold open with this the prologue of a Game of Thrones and Will and Waymar, that whole party going north of the wall. Great cold open to the series. And then you have the introduction to the Stark family, which I think is really well done in the show, just in terms of they had to take all of these starting chapters for the Stark family and combine them. So, for instance, in one scene, we learn a lot about pretty much all of the Stark kids besides Rickon and Sansa. Like Arya's opening shot, it has Arya looking at Sansa. I actually used that shot in the Sansa video coming out. And you learn about Arya because she's somebody that is not very traditional woman or traditional girl in that society. Sansa, you don't even know she's like a Stark based off the open. But then you have Bran, you have Jon, Robb, a really nice introduction to a lot of the Starks that is not present in the book. The book, we kind of jump right into Bran. We have, the execution, all that kind of stuff. So great introduction into the Stark camp, all of that stuff. They also introduce Arya in terms of as a character a lot earlier than the books do. The books, we don't get Arya as a POV until after the royal family has already gotten to Winterfell. So I think the Stark, execution is done, or Stark introduction is done really well. Like Matt says in the chat, I think that the introduction for the Lannisters was fantastic. I think the open to the show does a very good job of, you have a ton of characters. How do you introduce them all naturally while using your time effectively? And every scene does that. Like Jaime and Cersei's introduction is like a prelude to Catelyn in her first chapter in A Game of Thrones, where she's giving the news to Ned about Jon Arryn's death. It's a great way of segueing into that. So I agree. I think all that really needs to be said about episode 1 is that it's just a great introduction. It does everything right. It has a really awesome payoff at the end of the episode with Bran falling in the reveal of Jaime and Cersei. So I personally think it's probably S tier for me. I think it's a foundational episode of the entire show. Daenerys' introduction is quite strong as well. I don't love Daenerys in really the stuff with Drogo, but I mean, that's a whole different thing. Which, I mean, we'll talk about in episode 1 and 2, really. But I'm not a huge fan of the Daenerys, like, Drogo sex scene in either the book or the show. It's very awkward in both. And, yeah, I don't know what to say. I think the one flaw of season 1 is Daenerys' arc in the book, I feel like, is a lot stronger, but you have to adapt some really hard things to watch as an audience. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, though. What do you think about Daenerys, specifically in the first, 2 or 3 episodes? Episode 1 is A+ tier, the fantastic introduction. So, JC, would you have it top of A, or would you have it bottom of S? Season 1 is really good at ending the episode with a hook that makes you want to immediately watch the next episode. That was a bit clumsy. This is also the one and only time we see Illyrio Mopatis. Yes, Illyrio, unfortunately, never reappears in the show, which is, I would say, a pretty big plot hole. I mean, Illyrio is the character that starts Daenerys' entire arc, and then we basically never see him again. I do think that's quite, I don't know, a little, plot holey, but we'll see. So JC would go top of A. Well, JC, you haven't voted because every vote has been for S. So you have not voted. Do you think the Winterfell sack change was bad in the show? I would say so. Because this goes back to season 2 being, I would say, the weakest of the main 4, because in the book, it's very much established, and there's a nice character arc with introducing the character of Ramsay, which I think the show does a good job of introducing Ramsay as well. They go a very different route with it. Like, we only get to meet Ramsay after, where in the books he would have already been off screen. Like, Ramsay's a present character throughout the second half of A Clash of Kings. We don't meet Ramsay in the show until season 3. So I think that, yes, it was a bit clumsy, just having the Greyjoy men. Okay, we give up Theon and then it gets sacked. I think that it lessens Theon's whole arc, right? It takes away some of his characterization. And they do a lot of stuff, right? So they just kind of replace the Reek character. I don't know. I think that season 2, it's not bad. Like, I don't think Theon in his arc with Winterfell specifically is not bad at all. I think actually some of the best scenes of season 2 happen pretty later on with the Theon plotline, especially like his talk with Lewin and how Lewin's trying to get Theon to go to the wall. All of that stuff. I think that it's a mixed bag. Like, so much of what season 2 is, I think there's a lot of stuff in season 2 that was good, but it could have been way better. Like, it could have been even better. Like, the reason Clash of Kings is my favorite book is for so many of the reasons that the show got wrong. Like, season 2 is my least ranked season of the main 4. Like, I have it the lowest, which is crazy given it's adapting my favorite book. So I would say yes. To simplify the answer, Joey, I would say yes, but I don't think it's like terrible. I think it's still fine. I just don't think it's as good as the book. The change of introduction for Ramsay was awkward in the show. Yeah, it was a little like convoluted because you have Ramsay playing as this like servant guy to, I guess, servant slash spy to Asha, but then all of these Dreadfort men and all this stuff, like, how much were they in on it is the thing that I wonder about. And then it was handled quite weird. I won't lie. I don't think it was bad. I just think there's a lot of like question marks I would probably have about it. Emilia Clarke's acting was kind of meh, but I thought her character was fine in this show. She just never was my favorite. Well, JC, you're a Daenerys hater. I thought Emilia Clarke's acting was good in the first season, and I think it's almost similar to the book where Daenerys' character has so many good actors and then so many good characters in the book that you don't really focus as much on Emilia Clarke's acting. And, her source material is so good in the first season. It's, I think, the second season, and again, Emilia Clarke was dealing with some health issues during that time, but it really comes out more in season 2, especially the scene of where are my dragons after they've been stolen. So I think Emilia Clarke did a fine job in season 1, but it's hard when you have such great actors around you. That's all I'll say. So we'll put episode 1 in S tier. Also, I gotta move. I don't know how to keep the mouse off of the screen because I didn't actually have the tier list open at that point. But okay, hopefully that fixes it. Maybe. I think so. All right. So let's move into episode 2. So let me give you guys a bit of a synopsis of what happens in episode 2, and then we'll go ahead and we can rank that as well. So episode 2, titled The King's Road, we have the Winterfell plot basically being everybody is leaving Winterfell. You have a bunch of different goodbyes between Jon, Bran, Jon, Robb, Jon, Arya. It's really the dispersing of our cast. Ned is leaving. We see Bran is attacked by an assassin who then survives. You have that whole plot from Catelyn 3. Then you have a little bit of the traveling. So you have the stuff at the Trident. You have Arya and Joffrey's little fight, which leads to Lady's death. Bran wakes up at the end of the episode. You have Jon and Tyrion arriving at Castle Black. Also some of that journey there. And then for the Daenerys stuff, you have Daenerys kind of trying to integrate more into the Dothraki culture and trying to seduce Drogo, more or less. So that's more or less the condensed version of what happens in episode 2. I think episode 2 is a really good follow-up to episode 1, but I think that episode 2 is definitely a good episode. Is it as strong as the open? I don't know. I don't think Daenerys' arc is as strong as it is in episode 1. you have some of the building blocks. Like episode 2 and 3 to me are very much building block episodes where you have a pretty big reveal with like Lady dying and the Trident stuff, which builds up the tension of the show really, really well. I don't know, like I could go either way because I feel like almost with season 1, almost every episode could be S tier, but you got to remember the point of this is by the end of the entire, however many parts it takes to get through all the episodes, that we have a condensed, like, these are the best episodes of the entire show. So I would say, like, S tier, you only want maybe, how many episodes are there? There's 67, and then, so there's what, 73 episodes of Game of Thrones. There are 18 episodes of House of the Dragon. So there's what, 91 episodes? So you're probably going to want 20 episodes or less. I'd say more like 15 episodes in S. So I'd probably go with A tier here. I think it's not as strong as episode 1. Ramsay smuggling Theon into the Dreadfort without him noticing was just so weird. Yeah, there's a number of things that I really question in terms of Theon in that arc. Like, think about when they're even doing the name game, right? Where Ramsay is like, hey, if you can name who I am, I'll let you go free or whatever. Actually, I don't remember if it's let you go free or just stop torturing you, whatever. And Theon never realizes that he's at the Dreadfort. It's kind of weird, given that you have basically the cross thing where you for the flaying. Like, it just seems obvious. And Theon's been in the North for a long time now. At this point, he knows a lot of the houses. Maybe it's just Theon in the show is a little bit more of an idiot than I think he is in the book. But I always found that wild. Like, your guesses are the Umbers and the Karstarks. Like, what? I don't know. Do you think Tyrion's arc was the best part of season 2? Oh, undoubtedly. I think even in the book, Tyrion's arc is the highlight of A Clash of Kings. I would say Tyrion, Davos, Catelyn, like those different plot lines are the best parts of A Clash of Kings. So, yes, Tyrion's arc was the one in season 2 that was adapted the best. Catelyn's, not so much. They changed a lot of her character, and she wasn't as nuanced as she was in the book, in my opinion. Like, they kind of changed up some things to make her a lot more likable. The Renly's and Stannis camp, which is my favorite plotline of A Clash of Kings, really wasn't all that great in the show. Like, it was good. Don't get me wrong. If you had never read, or if you never read the books, you would probably think the Renly Stannis stuff was solid. It's just in the book, it's the best part of the book for me. And so, yeah, I would say Tyrion by far has the best part of season 2. I think Tyrion by himself carries season 2, just given that the source material for season 2 in certain plot lines is not the best. So Jon and Daenerys specifically, their source material in book 2 is not the best. I'd say it's some of the lower rated source material of the second book. And when you have those as two of your main characters, you then need to lean on your other characters. Like, they did a lot of good stuff with Robb, for instance, Catelyn, Tyrion. They tried to do the, Stannis plot line, and didn't do so good there. But, yeah. JC, you're going to really like a video coming out this week. I have a video going out about why Daenerys' A Clash of Kings arc is not good at all. And I don't even mean like I just don't prefer it, like it's meh. I genuinely think it's bad. So we'll see how the reception of that video is. Dany lovers will hate me, and Dany haters, they'll love me. So we'll see what happens. Also, thank you, Optimum Boots. Also, hi, Euron. How are you? Are there any shows where the second episode is better than the first? Well, I'm watching Dexter. No spoilers, by the way. And I'm talking about like the OG Dexter, not the new stuff coming out. And I think season 2 is better than season 1. A lot of that's because I really liked the character of Dokes, and he's one of the main characters of season 2. So I would say Dexter. But yeah. I would say though, there's not a lot that come to mind. I think that just comes with, when you think about shows, season 1 is like your first movie, season 2 is like your second movie, and usually the second movie is never as good as the first movie. So I would say most of the time it's not. I wish we got to see more of the houses and side characters in the North. Feels like they became irrelevant after season 1. Yeah. And what's crazy is, Brienne's arc in season 2, they stripped it from, like, in the book, it's not one of the best arcs either, but they even took away things like the Harvest Feast, like introducing a lot of the minor characters. which is crazy to me because I think the best part of Bran's arc in season 2 or book 2, what it should have been, would have been the northern politics at play going on between like the Boltons, you have the Manderleys, the Umbers, like you have a lot of different houses that are kind of grappling for power while Rob is gone. And then you also have the magical element, which just D&D never really fully went into. Like, for instance, in the show, Jojen doesn't give off a lot of his cryptic, warnings or dreams and stuff like he does in the show. So, also, you have the Frey boys aren't there either. So, they really stripped down the Bran arc of season 2. That's another thing. I brought this up in Becky's collab video. It just feels like in the book, it's so much more personal because you're losing characters. Like, you're losing Daisy Mormont, you're losing Small John Umber. Like, you're losing a lot more characters that you know of. I do like Stannis, but I do think he's underwhelming in season 2. Breaking Bad had a better season 2 than season 1. Every season of Breaking Bad gets better and better. I agree. The fact that Stannis was done so well in the show, except his ending, Matt's, I don't agree with that. I don't think Stannis was done that well in the show. Like, I don't know. Like, because it's hard. I did like Stannis in the show, but now being a book reader, and Stannis is my favorite character in the book, I don't think Stannis was done well on the show at all. Outside of, like, season 5 up until, like, episode 8 or 9, like up until the point where Ramsay does his 20 good men stupid thing, he's really, like, him in season 5 is the closest we ever get to Stannis. Stannis in the show is just very one note. He has no depth to him, no character to him. He's just a stripped, like, basic version of Stannis. He's what I think of as Rhaenyra in the show right now, where Rhaenyra lacks the complexity and what makes the character interesting in Fire and Blood. She's been kind of boiled down to, oh, she's the good guy, and now maybe she's like a religious fanatic or something. Like, that's the way I look at Stannis at this point. Agreed, JC. They never understood the character of Stannis, which is crazy because it's spelled out. Like, A Clash of Kings takes so much of a focus on it. What if Daemon Blackfire became Hand of the King? Sky Dragon, I'll say this. I think Daemon Blackfire was being manipulated and pushed to take the throne. So even if he became Hand of the King, I almost feel like that would give him more legitimacy in a lot of ways for people to say you should be the person ruling. So, I don't know. Ghost, you are right. Season 5 has the best and furthest representation of Stannis. Agreed. Fair, Mats. I get your point. All right, so let's move on. So episode 2, we're going to have an A tier. I like that. I think that's a good placing. It's good placing. Episode 3. I think episode 3, in a lot of ways, before I put the poll out, let's do a little synopsis just to remind you guys of what happened, and myself, to be honest. So episode 3 is titled Lord Snow. So King's Landing, we have Ned arriving. We get the introductions into the small council with characters like Renly, Varys, Littlefinger, Grand Maester Pycelle. Ned learns of the situation, how the realm is basically in a shit ton of debt. We also see Arya beginning her training with Syrio Forel, and we also see Catelyn secretly arriving in the capital, and we get the whole Littlefinger thing, and we get Ned and Catelyn's last moment together. We also get at the wall, Jon, he's now at the wall at this point, he is training, and we get the whole arc where Jon is very arrogant, and he's not understanding of the people around him. We also get the introduction into Samwell Tarly, a little bit of the stuff going on there. And we also have Benjen Stark then going on his ranging mission. We get a little bit of Bran and Robb on terms of Bran has now woken up as we're in episode 3. And Bran doesn't want to be alive. Some dark stuff going on here. And Robb tries to cheer him up more or less. Robb is taking more responsibility. He's becoming Robb the Lord while Catelyn is gone. And at that point, we see Daenerys basically taking a bit more control. So we see them on the march. Daenerys has them halt so that she can go off by herself. Viserys then tries to beat her more or less, I guess, or beat her up or something along those lines. And Daenerys puts him in his place and he gets to walk. So unfortunate for Viserys. That's what happens in episode 3. I think episode 3's got some good stuff. It feels very similar to like episode 1. You have to introduce a lot of different characters. I will say with episode 3, like episode 3 doesn't have the big punch. Like all the other 2 episodes have, like Lady dying, you have Bran's fall. Episode 3 doesn't really have that big moment to end on because it is a setup chapter for the or not setup chapter, setup episode for the most part. Especially when you're going to get things like Tyrion being captured in the next episode, you're going to get the Ned and Jaime fight in the following episode after that. And like that's the thing is like after episode 3, you get a pretty good endpoint for every single episode. Episode 3 just isn't that. So episode 3, like I would honestly say episode 3 might be the lowest rated episode for me of the first season. I don't know if that's crazy or not to say. Just like glancing through the episodes, I think episode 3 solid, but I think of season 1, which season 1 to me is the best season of Game of Thrones, so I might still have this in A tier, but this is the only one I think would teeter on B tier for season 1, but we'll have to see. I despise Sam in the show, although he wasn't that bad in season 1. I like Sam. I think that Sam, I don't know, I actually like Sam in the show a lot more. I think that Sam has a really good character arc where he starts off as very timid, he's very cowardly, and as the show goes on, it shows Sam gaining more courage. Like he has a natural progression of his character, whereas like in the book, Sam has moments of bravery. Like he has moments, but it doesn't feel like an arc, right? It doesn't feel like Sam is growing more competent. Like Sam has moments where like, okay, getting Jon elected Lord Commander, but then really all of book 3, he just spends that time being scared, all this stuff. And he has like little moments where like, you know, he kills the White Walker and, you know, all that stuff. But then you get into book 4 and Sam is just like, you know, he's crying all the time. He's getting beaten up, seasick. He just gets very repetitive, I think, in my opinion, to read in the book. In the show, I think it's better because you have Sam growing each and every season. So, for instance, the Battle of the Wall, he takes a big step up. He's somebody trying to help Pip, for instance, who's kind of shitting himself. Sam is the person to like try and talk him through all those things. He's grown as a character. So I actually I feel like I'm a bit different on Sam in the show than I am in the book, and I think they're very different characters. If Robert Baratheon died in the Greyjoy Rebellion, you'd be in a situation where likely Jon Arryn would be probably serving as the Lord Regent, or the Regent more or less, until Joffrey came of age. But then, there's a lot of things that could happen with that. That's all I'll say. We also get the introduction of, so we get an introduction to basically all of our main King's Landing crew. Sheesh just joined with stream idea. This is going to be a long one. Okay, this stream won't be that long because we're only going to cover probably one season of stream. I also am basically leaving tomorrow at like 1 o'clock, so I also want to record at least one of the 2 videos going out next week today. And yeah, it's going to be a long day. I've already recorded the reread today as well, so my throat's not going to be feeling great today, you know, by the end of the night, but it'll be all right. Episode 3 is still good, but probably the least best episode of season 1, in my opinion, B+ tier. Yeah, I would like it in B tier. I could see that. Sam's actor just overreacts in every step of his arc. Either Jon Arryn or Tywin would be hand. Yeah, well, Jon Arryn, I mean, would already be hand, but like he'd be like ruling. I could see Tywin becoming the Hand of the King at that point. Maybe. Greece is going to High... I am definitely not going to Highgarden. Where would I say I'm going to, based on where it is? I would honestly say I would be going to the Westerlands. Because, like, where I'm going has a lot of, like, kind of mountainy terrain, but it's also very grasslandish, I guess, as well. I don't know. I would say I'm going to the Westerlands. That's what I would say. I'd say I'm going to the Tooth. That's where I'm going. All right. I also got to put this in chat. I forgot to put this in chat. So season 1, episode 3. That's my bad. That's my bad, chat. I forgot to give you guys a way to actually rank it. There you go. Tell me, where do you think episode 3 should be? More hills in the Westerlands, I'd say. Okay, it's fair. But like, I'm not going. See, I would say the Vale, but not really. Greece is getting some gold from Tywin in the Westerlands. Maybe. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. But let me know, how are your guys' day? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Long day for me personally. Well, not really. Like, it was more like anticipation because I had to wait till I got my lens in today to really do anything. And then, so I recorded the reread, which is going to be about 40 minutes long. It's on Tyrion 10. It's a pretty good chapter, but... And then, so then I also had to do like kind of like an interview thing for like a project or whatever that I think I'm going to get more or less, but we'll see. I don't know. And that lasted for about an hour, and then had time to do my walk, and then ate, and now we're on the stream. And then after the stream, we've got to record probably, I'd like to get through 2 videos tonight. We'll see though. Also, hi Ghost, how are you? Hi Ashley, how are you? Also, thank you for responding to the video thing that I'll be doing. I have a problem, by the way. So the video I'm currently going to probably be recording next after stream is on a consensus of opinions on the books. And so I asked a bunch of creators to give me their list for the books. And so I had everything settled away. Okay, everything was good to go. I had the definitive list and the notes ready. And then I had Robert at Deep Geek give me his list. And I was like, hell yeah, more lists the better. The only problem is his list actually tied my second place. So I've been like praying somebody else responds, or I'm going to have to do it with some sort of tiebreaker. We'll see. That's all I'll say. Which Song of Ice and Fire region would Italy fall into? Valyria, the Dornish Marshes. I have no idea, Mats. That's a question for chat. I have no idea. JC, I think it went pretty well. It's more freelance type stuff at the moment, which, you know, I'd like full-time, to be honest, for, you know, job security purposes, but, you know, money is money, good for portfolio, whatever. But thank you. But yeah. All right, so episode 3, I think, is going to go into... It's looking like A tier. You guys like A tier? I think A tier, solid. I think... Yeah, let's go with it. I feel like I yapped on episode 3 for a long time. Well, let's put episode 3 A tier. Let me, since I yapped so much for episode 3, get season 1, episode 4 going. And then I'll kind of give you guys a synopsis. So if you want to hear what actually happened in the episode, don't vote right away. But I'm going to put that out there, so I'm not just kind of waiting on you guys to make your responses. So episode 4. Episode 4 is The Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things. Jon more or less just continues to mentor Sam. We have Tyrion mocking the Wall's state, as also they're asking him for help and all that kind of stuff. And then we see Tyrion go to Winterfell. So at Winterfell, Tyrion gives a saddle design for Bran, and we see this scene where he's mocking Theon. And then on his way south, Tyrion is ambushed and arrested by Catelyn. So Tyrion's arc, he goes a long ways in one episode. You know, he starts the episode at the Wall, goes all the way down to the Crossroad Inn. A lot of stuff happens for Tyrion. He goes a lot of places. He gets a lot of screen time, episode 4. King's Landing, we get a bit more of the investigation into Jon Arryn's death. He learns about Robert's bastards, specifically beginning with Gendry. We also see that Littlefinger's kind of showing Ned how the game's being played. Like, he's telling him all the different spies that are watching Ned, trying to keep him cautious, all that kind of stuff. In Essos, we see Daenerys is pregnant, and we see Viserys striking Daenerys in anger. And Daenerys, I would say she stands up to him in episode 3, but it wasn't her actually doing it. In episode 4, she hits Viserys back. It's like this moment now where Daenerys is kind of fully growing into herself a bit. She's going away from Viserys and all of that stuff. And I think episode 4 is a good one. I think Daenerys, you have some good moments with Daenerys. You have some build up for the King's Landing plot. I think that everything with the Wall and Tyrion specifically, pretty good in the episode. It has a really good finale where you have Tyrion getting captured. Really big emotional moment because on one hand, as an audience, we're looking at this going, oh, I kind of like Tyrion. He's one of the only Lannisters I actually like. But then you're on the other side and you're thinking, well, okay, Littlefinger did say this was Tyrion's dagger. Well, it's now his dagger. It was originally Littlefinger's. And so you have a really nice end to this episode. I think that it's not as good as episode 1, but I would say I think it has a lot more payoff to it than the first or the last episode we talked about. So, I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on episode 4. I think it has its strong plot lines and maybe some of its lower plot lines. When we judge Baelor, we should keep in mind the entire episode, not the event. Yeah, that's something that's going to be very crucial when we get to the Reigns of Castamere episode as well, because the Reigns of Castamere, it's remembered so much because of the Red Wedding. There is more to the episode. More stuff happens than just the Red Wedding. So that is something to keep in mind. It's not just one thing. Tyrion takes Danelle Noy's line about how Jon thinks he's too cool for the Night's Watch brothers by showing them up in swordplay. True, Danelle Noy is completely stripped from the book, and the show does not do that character. So you have other characters fulfilling some of the roles of that character. For instance, Alistair Thorne takes a lot of Danelle's role in the later season, in season 4. So, yeah. This is the episode that established that Freys wear stupid hats. Wait, does it, Mats? Because I don't think we see the Freys until, like, episode 9? Oh, no, you're right. There is Freys at the Crossroad Inn. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Mats. You're right. Best line of the episode is from Littlefinger. Mistrusting me was the wisest thing you did. It's true. S tier episode, Tyrion and Jon is vibes. Agreed. I like that aspect of this episode. I think the strong points of this episode are in the northern plot line. All of that. Benjen left in the previous episode, in episode 3, minimal. Hey, Grease, how far do you go for your walk? So I go to a park that's like 2 minutes from my house. Because I have back issues, it is very difficult for me to sit down for long periods of time, and so walking helps. So I do basically one walk when I get up in the morning for it's probably a little under a mile, and then I go a little bit later on in the day, like usually around 4, 5-ish, and about a 2-mile walk. So I probably walk about 3 miles a day around that. It's probably not that. It's probably like 2.5 or 2 3/4, but yeah. So I wish I could jog, but I can't. Not that okay. Some people take that out of context that don't know I have back issues. Like lung capacity wise and leg strength wise, I can jog a mile fairly easily. But in terms of back issues and stuff I'll get afterwards, no, can't do it. So yeah, unfortunate, but yeah. I don't know how I have no idea how I used to jog and or run like every single day in the heat. It's been upwards of 90 degrees here the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. It just now got down to about 80 degrees, which feels fantastic here. But man, I hate the summer. I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for fall, guys. Guys, what's your favorite season? Just let me know. I know, random question, but summer is I don't get summer. I don't get why people like summer. I just don't. You just melt. Now I'm biased because I have black hair, and so I just my whole head just sweats. But I don't know. And then people ask, or people will be like, "Oh, why do you got this shirt on?" Basically, and I'd be like, "Well, because I'm dying. Because I'm literally dying. It's so hot. I'm also recording in a basement, so it's hot down here." But whole different conversation. I dream of spring, Mats. Hell yeah. Spring's a good one. I would say I'm fall, winter, spring, and then summer. But I don't mind spring either. Like I like all the seasons except for summer. The ones that like summer are the students that don't have to go to school. It's fair. I need the winds of winter IRL. We do need the winds of winter. I'm up to just under 6,000 steps, which is 2.2 miles. Well, here you go, Ashley. I'll tell you how many steps I take in a day. Hold on. Also, Terry McLaurin has requested a trade. We need him to come to New England immediately. Give him everything. How do let's see, health. So, on average, I take about 9,000 steps a day. And I climb about 15 flights of stairs. Now, again, also, by the way, thank you for subscribing, Sam. Now, I record downstairs. All my computer stuff is downstairs. If I basically want to do anything with technology, I have to go down the stairs and up the stairs. So, yeah. In all seriousness, I enjoy fall the most. Yeah, fall is the best. The problem I've had with fall the last couple years is that I live in the Midwest. Our fall feels like it's like 2 or 3 weeks. Like it either goes from super hot all the way up until like September, and then we have maybe a little bit of nice cooler weather and then goes straight to winter. So fall is the best season. Just love the vibes and how weather isn't too cold. Yeah. I'm a big, my favorite holiday is Halloween. I love dressing up and stuff like that, as you guys have probably seen if you've followed the Instagram. So I'm a big fall guy. I'm a big fall guy. All right, so we're going to put episode 4 into A tier. Again, I think solid. I'm going to do this, though. I think that it's much more, I think it's on the higher end of A. Moving on, we have episode 5. Again, we just start, I feel like season 1's one of those where it's like, as it gets chugging along, it just gets better and better. So, season 1, episode 5 has quite a big difference from the book. In the book, the whole confrontation with Jamie is very, very different. And in the show, they actually let Ned and Jamie fight, which I actually do think is a good move given how much we don't really see much action in the first season. And so I think giving a bit of that action through the first 5 episodes was actually quite a nice change. I did like that, but let's go through the synopsis. So a lot of the episode focuses on King's Landing. We have Robert and Ned's more or less their breakup over killing Daenerys. Ned resigns his hand. We have Cersei and Robert, their great conversation about the Dothraki coming over and their marriage. All that stuff. It's a great conversation. One of the best added from the show. We see Ned learning about Sir Hugh and his whole background as he dies mysteriously. Then we get Jamie confronting Ned over Tyrion's arrest, and Ned is injured. Really great end to the episode. Probably the first 5 episodes, probably the most impactful end, as you don't know how Ned's going to go from this. He's injured, and he's not Hand of the King anymore. What's going to happen? At the Eyrie, we get Catelyn basically traversing the Vale and eventually getting to Lysa Arryn. We see Lysa is very unhinged, not like Catelyn whatsoever, and Tyrion is thrown into a sky cell. And then we see basically the stallion who mounts the world's sequence of events for Daenerys. A lot of foreshadowing to Viserys betraying her as she's getting all this attention. I think episode 5 is a really good episode. I would say episode 5 probably should be The Wolf and the Lion, which is the title of episode 5. I would probably have an S tier. I think there is a big conversation for this being number 1. Spring, I get bad allergies. Summer is too damn hot, and winter can be a bitch in Chicago. Excuse my language. Yeah, Ghost. It could be, yeah, I can imagine in Chicago, especially how windy it is there, and you just add in the factor that it's colder, you're up further north. Yeah, I could see why you'd not be a fan of winter. Where the hell is Dakota? I don't know, Ashley. I don't know. He maybe it's a Thursday. I don't usually stream on Thursdays, so he has an excuse. The whore is pregnant. Yes, I said that word way too. I don't know, like, if you're not supposed to say that word on YouTube. I don't really know if YouTube catches that or anything, but I said that word today on the Clash of Kings reread recording so many times just because it's Shay talking about it. I like, how am I supposed to avoid it? So I don't know. I love every scene with Ned and Robert. Yeah, I think every scene with Robert in it is fantastic. And we haven't really even talked about some of the stuff with like the tourney that happens. Everything with Robert's great. One of the better changes, I think, from the book to the show is how much more they give Robert screen time. Fantastic. That's all I got to say. So far, we are very divided. Now, there's only been 3 votes. So cast your vote wherever you want episode 5 of season 1 to be. I'm just curious. So for people in chat, if you had to guess on consensus ranking of the books from all the creators, I got about 20 creators and then myself 21. So there's 21 different content creators' lists for the Song of Ice and Fire books, what do you think the order is? Tell me. If you're watching this after the stream, let me know. What do you guys think it is? I'm not going to reveal it. I was very surprised by it. Very surprised. Also, I won't expose you, Ashley, but your list, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about that list, Ashley. I'm joking. I mean, I think everybody gonna have different opinions on it, but I was very surprised with some lists. Also, downstairs today, or not today, but really the last week, been having some massive spider issues. Matt says, Storm of Swords, Clash of Kings, Dance, A Game of Thrones, Feast. Matt's, I'll tell you this. You got one of those placings right. One. I don't think that's even a bad guess either. I think that's a pretty good guess. It's just, I don't know. What do you make of House of the Dragon's amendment to the battle at Tumbleton by including Daemon? So major spoiler. Well, it's too late. Major spoilers for House of the Dragon. Sorry. But I talked about this a lot, Ashley. I feel like in past streams. At this point, we already know House of the Dragon is not really following the source material at all. So at this point, I just hope it's entertaining. I hope it can somewhat fit with the show's continuity. I just hope it's entertaining. I can't really judge the change because we don't have the full context of it yet. We'll just go how it is when we get there. I think Carmine, Red Team Review, uploaded a video today about it. I don't know what to think. I mean, I don't have any faith in House of the Dragon or the Condal team to do it correctly, so I don't really feel like I'm the right person to comment on that because I have a very biased opinion on what I think is going to happen. But I'll just say this, Ashley. It's just, it seems more evidence of why George did not like it. So, do you think the Vargo Hote change was weird? No, not really. I mean, I think the Vargo Hote character of the book is really weird. Like, I just don't think that character, it's kind of the same idea of like Tom Bombadil to the movie of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. It's a character that works in the book, but I think in terms of a show or movie, like Vargo Hote, the way he speaks, the whole mannerisms, like I don't really mind them really just kind of taking that character out more or less. Hi KP, is Indie Geek also live? I was just talking about him because he gave me his list yesterday, which he had one of the better lists. I will say that. I'm not going to reveal any of the lists individually, but he had a list I agreed with quite a lot. But if he's live, well, go say hi to him for me, I guess. But yeah, I also don't normally stream at this day / well, the time I do, but not day. How is Daemon going to fit into the battle? It feels forced. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I agree. I just don't know how they're going to do it yet. So, yeah, Matt's. It doesn't really make sense right now with where the show is. I don't know. I have so many questions for it. Yeah, Ghost again. Like you guys are saying, I'm not really that big into what I'm hearing about the show, and I don't really like. I know there's a lot of creators that are very involved with learning about the leaks and looking at the background stuff going on. I personally I just don't care. I mean, like, I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't care to the point of I'm going out of my way to like look up House of the Dragon stuff, or because I just don't have the same emotional attachment to it. So I'll try to like stay educated with what's happening, at least the bigger points for you guys when you guys ask me or anything like that. But I don't know. I'm ready for Dunk and Egg. We're much closer to Dunk and Egg. We've gotten no news on it. I'm really excited, for it. I want to love the television show. I'm worried about it, but I don't know. You know what? I think a better question to ask you guys is, given everything that is happening right now, do you guys think House of the Dragon is going to get delayed? I really wonder that. I really wonder it. It was something that instantly came to my mind when Dunk and Egg was pushed back. What do you guys think? Ashley, what was your list again? Hold on. Let me look at your list. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to expose you on stream, but I got to be reminded about what your list was. Okay, if you guys want a little hint, if you quite literally reverse my list, you have Ashley's list. Me and Ashley are on complete opposite sides of the fence. Well, okay, not fully. Like the last, I'm not gonna say anything anymore. But yeah, Ashley, you have a fantastic list. There's a lot of people who agree with you. I'm just on the complete other side. Let me put episode 6 then into the chat. Let me break it down for you guys, and we'll continue. So episode 6, a golden crown. We have Tyrion in his trial by combat. Bronn wins, of course, because Tyrion's not going to die in the first 6 episodes. At King's Landing, we have Ned on the throne. Great moment for the show. Sending Beric Dondarrion, denouncing Tywin publicly, all that kind of stuff. Stark Lannister conflict continuing to build. We also find out a bit more about the Baratheon lineage, and this is basically where we have not exactly the reveal, because we don't get the Cersei Ned stuff until the next episode, but it's like this is where you get it. It's where you get that conversation between Sansa, Arya, and Ned, and how Ned kind of puts it all together. Wait, yeah, Joffrey doesn't look anything like Robert, and that's where all that kind of comes from. So it's a huge episode in that part of it. We get Bran dreaming of the three-eyed raven. He rides a horse again using Tyrion's saddle design. Is this the episode also where... I think this is also the episode where we have the confrontation with the wildlings / deserters, which is a really good moment. Let me make sure. I feel like it is, though. I think it is. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure episode 6, that's when that happens. Wait, let me look at my clips. Pretty sure though. Season 1, episode 6. Yes, so that's yeah, that is when that happens. So you also have that part of it into that episode. We also see in probably the biggest part of the episode is we see Viserys's death, one of the most gruesome deaths and one of the best moments, I would say, of season 1. I think episode 6 is a banger. A lot of great moments. A lot of big reveals. The scale, I would say the Lannister-Stark conflict is growing. So, Joey, here's all I'll say. I think that they really put themselves into a corner by delaying a lot of the war stuff from season 2 and also cutting down on the episodes. You know, you only have 16. Think about this. We only have 16 episodes left of House of the Dragon. Like, that's crazy. To think about where we are right now in the story, and there's only 16 episodes left, is crazy to think about. I think what's going to end up happening, Joey, is I think a lot of those conflicts are going to be combined. I think they're going to be dumbed down, probably, which, you know, it can definitely work. Season 1 did that, right? Battle of the Whispering Wood. Don't really see any of it. Same with the Battle of the Green Fork. I think we might see a lot of that kind of stuff. Even House of the Dragon, when we see that happening in episode 2, right? The Blackwood-Bracken conflict, we don't really see it. We see like the after effects of it. So I think it'll be a lot of stuff like that. Because you just, I don't see how they have the budget, plus the dragons, to show like 3 or 4 different battles every season. I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think it's going to be tough. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what you guys think. That's all I'll say. But again, episode 6, I'd probably put an S tier. I think another fantastic... I mean, I really think episode 6, 7, 9, and 10 are all S tier. I would say probably episode 8 is A tier. Because it's kind of like that. Episode 8 is kind of that weird spot where you've got some of the Daenerys stuff where it's still kind of getting back into the peak parts of it. You've kind of got that not downtime, but you're rebuilding the tension between Ned's death and also, you know, the coup that happens in episode 7. So I don't know. I think you're kind of in a weird spot there. You guys are putting episode 6 in S tier. I like it. I like it. All right. I'm going to say, I don't know where you guys would even put this episode. I would probably put it there. Maybe. Yeah, I think that's a good spot. I think between episode 5, between episode 1. That's where I would put it. That's where I'd put it. All right, moving on. We have got season 1, episode 7. Really, really, really big, really big episode. You have Ned's coup happening in this one. You have Ned and Cersei, you know, that conversation, iconic moment from the books. I mean, it basically plays in every single video of mine, more or less. A lot of great stuff happens. You've got John getting Long Claw. You have the White Walker attack, more or less. That's a huge moment. Drogo declaring war on the Seven Kingdoms. Like, there's just some fantastic moments in episode 7. Probably, I would say, the best so far that we've ranked. Which book is my favorite? My favorite is A Clash of Kings. My ranking personally is A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Game of Thrones, A Feast for Crows, and then Dance. I think A Clash of Kings has just a mixture of everything I love about A Song of Ice and Fire. It's got a huge battle set piece at the end. It has my favorite setting of the War of the Five Kings. It's got great character work with characters like Stannis and Catelyn specifically. It just encompasses, I think, every element of what I like about A Song of Ice and Fire, while also being a good building block and setup chapter. It's where George experiments with a lot of things. Like everything we see with A Feast for Crows and Dance, you can see that George experimented with it in Clash of Kings, right? Giving us more of the Ironborn with Theon, or how he's making characters a lot more, I don't know, centric on their own building. So like, for instance, Brienne, for instance, or Theon, for instance. And you can see him playing with all those different ideas of expanding the world, the big plot twists. A Clash of Kings is where A Game of Thrones was a mystery book. It was more small scale. Clash of Kings is where it kind of goes out a little bit. Dance is your least favorite. It's in my top 3. Yeah, Dance, I think Dance is the most inconsistent book of the entire series. It has incredible highs. I think Theon, his plotline's fantastic. I think Jon probably has his best book in book 5, if not his second best, alongside there with Storm of Swords. I think that when we are actually in Westeros and Dance, I think the book is fantastic. Like when we're with characters with like Jon Con, for instance, or I mean, I would even say Barristan, right? But then you look at other characters. You have a ton of chapters with Tyrion. Majority of his chapters are not good. Some of the worst of the entire series, if not the worst. Quentin gets 5 chapters that he has no right having, and he's horrible POV. Daenerys, don't think she's bad. I don't think Daenerys is as bad as she is in book 2, but she's fine. Like I don't flip to her chapters and go, great, it's Daenerys. I'm so excited. Like I'm just kind of like, okay. Like her chapters kind of blend together for me. I think if I was trying to like remember exactly what happens in every chapter of Dance, by far Daenerys's would be the hardest for me to do because a lot of her chapters are kind of forgettable. So I'm going to talk about this a lot in a recording I'm going to do probably right after this stream, so it's probably a good setup for me. I think Dance is a book that it has the moments of A Feast for Crows, right? It has a lot of character building, albeit I think Dance executes it better at times, while also you're having great character moments with Theon. You're progressing the northern plot as well, which Feast for Crows struggles to do at times. Like it has really great character work and great writing, and then it doesn't forward the plot all that much. So I don't know. I think Dance, you also have some great stuff as well with Cersei and Arya. I really like their chapters in Dance as well. Dance has incredible highs, but at points the book is hard to read. Dance, I talked about this in my retrospective. Feast for Crows, I flew through. Feast for Crows, I had no problem doing the retrospective for. I got through that whole series relatively quickly. A Dance Dragons took a sizable, I would say double the time of Feast for Crows. Part of that is Dance is bigger, but the other part of that is just the amount of work that goes into those series where I'm reading every chapter, detailing it heavily, and then making hour-long videos. Dance, it got to the point where it was just like, man, Tyrion, Quentin, Daenerys, like it just, it wore, like I stopped reading A Dance Dragons for that series because I just felt burnt out. I felt burnt out doing the book. And it doesn't mean I don't like the book. I love Dance. It's still top 10 book for me. But of the main series, it is by far the one I like rereading the least. So, I don't know. I know a lot of people love that book. It started out doing really well in the consensus video I'm going to be putting out. It kind of came back down a little bit, but I mean, it still did well. It had, I think it was second for first place votes from creators. So, you guys will see. We're also going to be doing a stream with JC, kind of looking at the results, but we'll see. again, like Ashley is mentioning, Dance has a ton of great standout moments. Is fantastic. Like there's some great moments in Dance. It has some of the highest moments, some great chapters. It's like the opposite of Feast. Feast for me has a lot of good chapters, but not a lot of like true standout chapters. Like it does have some, but it just doesn't, like Dance has a lot more. But Dance on the other hand of that has way more just like this is a worst chapter of the series type chapter. I don't know. Tyrion, the only thing I like about Tyrion's plot is I like some of his stuff with Illyrio. I like young Griff, and then after that, I think he's borderline unreadable for me. I do not like reading Tyrion and Dance. Especially in Volantis, especially when he's just with Jorah. I know what George was trying to do with Tyrion's storyline. Just don't. I don't know. Not a fan. All right, episode 7. You guys have an S tier. I think very obvious choice. Makes sense. I totally get it. I'm going to put it top of S. Moving on, we have episode 8. Episode 8, I think of the last 4 episodes, probably the weakest one. Like I talked about, it's got a lot of retooling it has to do. You know, you had a huge moment. We start out episode 8, and you've got some of the stuff like Syrio Forel's death, maybe. Arya trying to then escape, all that kind of stuff. You've got the manipulation being done to Sansa, Septim Mordane's death, all that kind of stuff. You've got Robb then marching south, the Northern Lords, him leaving Winterfell, all that stuff. And then we also got Catelyn meeting back up with Robb at Mo Caelan. It's a really emotional scene between Robb and Catelyn, who haven't seen each other in a good amount of time from the episodes. I'm going to say this right away. House of the Dragon, maybe you should have taken notes. The more time you spend away, when those characters meet back up, it's much more impactful because they're much more changed. House of the Dragon, just never understood that, I guess. I don't know. But still. We get the reveal that Maester Aemon is a Targaryen. Pretty sick reveal as Jon is being tempted more and more to go south. All that kind of stuff. We got Drogo, who basically is trying to get help from Mirri Maz Duur as he is wounded in battle. Those are kind of the broad points of episode 8. You know, I think it's a good retooling episode. You kickstart Robb's journey going south and the King of the North plot line. You've got the conclusion to the Ned's coup kind of stuff going on. You forward Jon's plot line. You forward Daenerys' plot line. Set them up for, you know, a big last finale, episode 9 and 10. But that's where I would say. I would say that episode 8, I would probably put episode 8 high A, probably. What was weird is that D&D kept bringing Syrio's actor to promotional events for the next 2 to 3 seasons. Yeah, it was interesting because there were so many. I thought about doing a video looking at some of the biggest Game of Thrones theories that never got answered or anything like that, and one of them is Syrio Forel. He's a character like we don't see him die. It happens off screen. He's very much alluded to at multiple points in terms of whether you're talking about promotional stuff in the show. Could Syrio have still been alive? Never goes anywhere, unfortunately. But, you know. Interesting. Seeing a lot of S votes and, a 1B vote. Interesting. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you're a big Dance with Dragons fan, why would you say it's your favorite book? Or A Feast for Crows? I've always said the 2 books I've never understood why people have them as their favorite are those 2. Like, I've always said I think the first 3 are better than the last 2. Not by a wide margin, but like it's... For me, I love how connective and cohesive the first 3 feel. You don't necessarily get that with the last 2 as much as you do. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I think that the one thing I've consistently seen with other people's lists and other people's explanations, because some people, when they gave me their list, they gave me a little bit of rationale for certain things, is a lot of people love that the writing style of book 4 and 5 like evolved. Like George seemed to really start hitting his, not his prime, but hitting character writing a lot harder in the last two books, and a lot of people really like how those books expand the world a lot. Like, we get to see more of other cultures we haven't necessarily seen throughout the first three books. I'm very interested, because whereas I do like, for instance, A Feast for Crows, I love seeing the Ironborn plotline, the Martell plotline. I also at the same time think, we're expanding the plot a ton, and it's making the story stall a little bit, which is like never what the first three books did. The first three books all had a reason to expand the story. Or like, say we're going, Theon's going to the Iron Islands, we're learning more about the Iron Islands. Well, that has a massive payoff, because then Theon takes Winterfell, and we have the alleged deaths of Bran and Rickon, all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know. The first three books to me are more tightly written in terms of balancing out world building, character development, plot. Whereas the last two books, I think the plot gets put a little bit on the back burner. And that doesn't mean that the plot doesn't forward, right? But when you think about how much ground we cover in one book in terms of the first three compared to the last two, like, we have gone two books now, and certain characters haven't gone that far or haven't done all that much. So that's something I just look at, I don't know. The Sirio actor said the reason his death was left so ambiguous was because D&D were trolling fans after learning about the Sirio equals Jack, and that doesn't surprise me. Especially when you think about things like the Hound pissing in the water, and that's supposed to be a fuck you to the fans who like Lady Stoneheart in that plot line, so that doesn't surprise me. Jon had an amazing storyline. Theon gets reintroduced and shows us internal northern politics, same as Davos. Stannis is at his A game, and the Phagon plot is interesting. So yeah, Matt, like, everything you just brought up, I totally agree with. Like, I agree that Jon's plotline is very good in Dance of Dragons. I think everything in the north, like everything you just talked about, majority of what you just talked about is northern stuff. That's where Dance of Dragons is at its best. When it sticks to the Stannis plotline, the Wall plotline, the north in general. I then think you kind of started it, but I'll kind of keep going. I think that the other side plots. So side plots mean, for me, they have like 2 or 3 chapters at most. So Cersei, the conclusion to her plotline from A Feast for Crows, really well done. Arya, her 2 chapters in A Dance of Dragons are my favorite of her Feast and her Dance of Dragons arc. I think that's where the book succeeds. It's just when you have well over 30 chapters that are devoted to the Essos plotline, which just is not strong in the book. That's like it's not half, but it's bordering around like half of the book being the Essos plotline, which I don't find all that good. In Dance of Dragons, that's to me where it's like the book, if it was just the North, if it was just the Northern plotline, I would have it much higher than it is right now. But it's those other stuff that's not as good for me that's what brings Dance down. But I don't know. Northern plots are the best, period. Winds is going to be the best of them. All I have is faith. It's fair. I will say this. A Clash of Kings, I would say that's the opposite. A Clash of Kings, the Bran and Jon Northern plot lines are probably the lower points of book 2, but I do think the Tywin Arya Harrenhal change was good. I mean, I think it was good. I don't like what Arya's character arc got changed to though. I think they lost that aspect of it. All right, moving on. We'll go to episode 9. Hold on. What did you guys put it in what, S? Okay. We'll put it back into S. All right, episode 9. I think season 1, episode 9 has got to be S tier. It's got to be S tier. Like, it just has to. I'm not putting B tier. It's going to be S tier. I guess we'll do a plot synopsis. I guess we might as well. So you have Ned's death scene. One of the biggest moments of the entire show. You've got Robb. You got the Battle of the Whispering Wood. All the stuff leading up to that with the Frey stuff. Actually, do they cross the twins in episode 9 or is it episode 8? Let me look real quick. I don't actually remember. Yeah, so Robb goes to the twins in episode 9. And then so you have the introduction of the twins. You've got the Battle of the Green Fork, all that happens there. You've got Miri using the blood magic stuff, and Daenerys basically sacrificing her son even though she doesn't know it. You just have I think a culmination of all the arcs. So, yeah. Also, I think the notes were wrong, which I thought was weird. Jon's storyline, he does not. He gets Longclaw at this point in the story. I don't know why I said that earlier, but I don't know. I was going off of the notes, and the notes were wrong. So, again, I'm not gonna waste much time on this. I think it's S tier. It's probably the top of S tier. Not much more needs to be said. Yeah. I don't think much needs to be said here. All right. Season 1, episode 10. Another banger. I don't mind if we have this in S tier as well. We might have to rearrange this list as we get a little bit further along on where you guys actually have these ordered. But I think right now, we'll just go with it. I think, again, episode 10, you just have the culmination of the whole story, right? You have Jon's whole storyline where he's going to desert the wall. He gets brought back. He decides to become a man of the Night's Watch. You have Arya leaving King's Landing with Yoren. You've got Daenerys bringing back the dragons. You've got the King of the North sequence. Yeah. What is there to say? I mean, you're adapting the best parts of a Game of Thrones, some of the best chapters, and it's just done really well. And I'll say this, I think that the show does a better job of where it lands. So, yeah. I would say definitely S tier. Merlian's song about Robert and Cersei was funny as heck. That's fair. But yeah, I think a solid spot. I really like though the way the show ends it, right? Because in the book, you ended on a kind of a weird note for, say, Jon and Arya, where they're not already ready to go into their next journey. So I don't know. I like the way the show does it. The show ends on a very compelling, great way. I would say episode 10 of season 1 probably is the best episode of the season, maybe of the entire series. I don't know. What do you guys think? Some people are some haters of season 1. I'm seeing a lot of A's on episodes that are clear S tiers for me, but I don't know. Best episode of season 1? I agree, Mats. I agree. I think it's a very good one. I think it is a very, very good one. It's definitely the best season finale. Yeah, I would agree. I think I would say it's the best season finale. I'm trying to think of the season finales and how I would even rank all of them. Season 4, I would probably say of the first 4 is probably the worst. Season 3's, I think season 3's is pretty good. I think season 2's is solid. I'd probably rank it the way I rank the seasons. I'd say season 1, season 3. Then I would switch season 4 and 2. So season 2, which is usually my last, I would say it'd be my third, and then season 4 would be fourth. Okay, so I saw Quinn make that video about how the finale of season 4 was the first bad episode of Game of Thrones. What do you guys think about that? I watched that and I agree with the idea that this is where a lot of the cracks start, but there's some things that for instance, we all talk about the Tysha reveal. The Tysha reveal, or the lack of a Tysha reveal, is one of those moments it's okay, that was a huge moment. But I've always talked about this. The Tysha reveal never made sense to begin with for the show, because the show never brought up Tysha. So for instance, book 2, you have this whole moment where Tyrion tells Shay the story of Tysha. That's the chapter I just recorded today. Or in book 1, you have Tyrion telling the story of Tysha to Bronn. You have multiple accounts of where we hear this story of what happened to Tysha, and it motivates Tyrion quite heavily. The show, Tysha is never a character. Tysha is not a part of Tyrion's character, really. It does not motivate him at all. So implementing some big twist where Jaime was lying about Tysha, it wouldn't matter, because the audience, the general audience, unless you're a book reader, wouldn't know what that meant anyway. So I don't know. I don't know. I would love to maybe make a video on that at some point, because I think that season 4's finale is not the best episode in the world, but I think because of how season 5 and the show declined, season 4, it's almost swung too much to the other side now, where like it used to be looked at as one of the best episodes of the show. Now it's kind of like, oh, it's not that good. Where I'm like, I'm in the middle, where I think there's some things that are really good about about season 4's end, but I think there's some other stuff where it's like, yeah, okay. Like Brienne and the Hounds fight, it's like, okay, that was kind of illogical, very illogical how both these characters got to where they were, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's an interesting talking point. Not to throw shade or hate at Quinn, because I think he made a very good video. I thought it was a very interesting discussion. I don't necessarily agree with the conclusion that came from it, but I don't know. So S tier for episode 10, I think that makes sense. I think this is what I would say. I would say vast majority of the first season is S tier. It's some of the best episodes of the show. It's where D&D adapted the show the best, and I think it shows. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Next time we do this tier list, it'll be on season 2. Don't know if that'll be... It definitely won't be the Monday stream 2 weeks from now. But maybe maybe Monday it will be. Maybe it won't. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see. I might do more streams on Thursday. Maybe we'll just do tier list Thursday. Who knows? I don't know yet. But I will see you guys all in the next one. And bye, guys.